Martin, over the night, we've heard further trade actions the U.S. is taking against China. Looks like a full-blown trade war is imminent. So how bad can things go if China retaliates?
I would expect with the Trump administration that they would retaliate against any retaliation. So I don't think it will end quickly. It's not clear how this dispute could be settled. It's not clear to me what China could do plausibly that would satisfy the Americans, things that make any sense at all. So it seems to me we've moved into a completely unpredictable phase of international economic diplomacy. We could say that something has been launched, sort of missile has been launched, and I think nobody knows where it'll end up.
You talked about the challenges facing China. How is this trade war going to worsen the prospect, for example, or make the challenges more severe?
In the short run, on the basis of the measures taken so far, it doesn't seem to me that China's economic prospects will be much affected by what has been announced. They're not big enough. They're not big enough to move this. As I understand it, Chinese exports to the United States are about 4% of GDP. I may have got that number wrong, but that's what I was told. So that's about 4 times what American exports are to China as a share of GDP. Now, assume they were to shrink somewhat. It's still, in the context of an economy growth 6% a year, it's not that large. Now, if the trade war gets more severe, and even more if it also has geopolitical consequences, then the consequences for policy making might be more radical. China might feel that it has to reconsider its reserves policy. Does it want to hold dollar assets? If it's in the middle of a trade war with the US, it might wish to use its foreign currency reserves as a weapon. That's, I think, very dangerous. So the short to medium term impact seems to me at the moment, depending on the retaliation, modest. But the really big issue is how this might ramify outwards, possibly affecting in some profound ways the whole economic strategy of China of the last 4 decades in terms of opening up, because that was led by a rapprochement with the United States, the Nixon in China episode. That created the environment in which reform and opening up was possible. And China joined the Western-led world order, what was then a Western-led world order. So if this threatens that, then the implications are truly radical.
So for a brief moment last year, we even used the word honeymoon to describe the relationship between Xi and Trump. But recently, things have turned south really fast. We first have this meeting between Trump and Kim directly without China, and then we have the Taiwan Travel Act, and then we have this trade dispute. And then last night we also have a new national security advisor in Washington, which you seem to be even more pessimistic about. So why the sudden change in the relationship?
You're asking me to psychoanalyze Donald Trump, which is impossible. Right. He's a bellicose, ignorant, profoundly prejudiced bully. And a man like this is very difficult to predict. My guess, it's a guess, is that he feels that he tried to be nice and he didn't get what he wanted. The Chinese didn't offer enough. He then started feeling they've been playing me. They've been taking me for a ride. And anyway, I'm really a protectionist. I've been pretending to be a nice guy, but I'm really not. And I don't like these Chinese people anyway. And he wants to get rid of the trade imbalance, and he wants to stop China, in his perception, stealing American technology. And he wants to stop China's rise, let's be clear, which China obviously is not going to deliver. So he's now trying something else to throw his weight around. And I think he also felt he feels two other things. After a year, he can be more himself, more what he really is like. And second, I think he feels the midterms are coming up. He wants to appeal to his base, to the bits of America that like this sort of thing, which is what he has to mobilize. He's surrounding himself with protectionists, and he's replacing H.R. McMaster, who actually went a long way to support him, with somebody who is probably the most hawkish person in the policy establishment of the United States, Sir John Bolton, who's terrified people for years. He's a nationalist. He has no interest in the international order, international rules. The only interest of John Bolton is the primacy of the United States and the physical destruction of its enemies. So he is a truly 19th century nationalist who recognizes absolutely no moral restraints whatsoever on the rights of the United States to act. So he's about as dangerous as a man can be in a nuclear age.